Hi, welcome to the BookishStitcher podcast. My name is Jeanette. You can find me on Ravelry, Instagram, Goodreads, and Periscope as BookishStitcher, all one word. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas if you celebrated. You might notice that my voice sounds very different from normal. It's because my whole family has a tiny bit of a cold, so I've been coughing a lot, so my voice just sounds different. But I have some winter spice tea in my new Christmas mug, and it will hopefully help keep my throat ready for the podcast. But we had a wonderful Christmas. My husband's whole family flew in. His parents flew in from Indiana, and his sister flew in from New York City, and we've just been having a great time. If you see up there, there are some board games. We've been playing board games every night, so I did not get as much knitting as I normally would, because normally in the evenings I have a couple hours to sit and knit, and when you're doing a board game, you put down your knitting, so you only get a couple stitches knit between your moves, so it just did not get as much done as normal, but I did get some done. And my mom came over for a little bit of Christmas Day. My brother was going to come, but he also has a cough. I was joking with him that I gave it to him across the distance. He's in Houston and we're in San Antonio. And then I'm going to be going and seeing my dad in Houston for New Year's. We're going to drive down there. But let's get into the knitting. This winter spice tea is amazing. I have a little bit of agave in it too. It's really good. So my first finished object, this is a Christmas present, but I haven't seen the recipient yet because we're going to Houston. I'm going to give it to them then. But this is the Licorice Hat by Claire Devine, and it is knit out of some bumble birch in the colorway Fireside Glow. It's from a club that I was in last year, and I have now officially knit all the club yarn before the club was even over, because the club, I believe, was December, January, and February, and I've already knit it all up. And it's very neat, a little pattern with these little holes created. I really like how it looks. It almost reminds me of honeycomb beehive, kind of with the holes and the color of the yarn. And the next thing I have is the knitting is done, but it still has to be seamed together. This is the Without a Sound cowl by Allie Coffee. This is my third one. You can see it needs to be seamed. But this is for, I don't know if she watches, I think she's watched it before, but I don't think she watches it regularly. But this is for my friend Tanya, who's my Russian friend who helps me with practice my Russian and translating and stuff. And I haven't gotten to see her in a while, but I'm going to give this to her. Or my husband will probably give this to her because he works with her. And she gave me a Christmas present, but this wasn't done in time. I felt so awful. Or she gave our family a Christmas present, but her birthday's coming up, so it will be a kind of in-between Christmas and birthday present. And this is knit in some gorgeous Malabrigo sock yarn in the Persia colorway. And it's so wonderfully soft. Malabrigo sock yarn is great for things around your neck. For socks, we haven't had the best experience with it. As I told you guys last week, my husband had a hole in his Malabrigo socks. My tea is going to run out so quickly. And then it leaves my work in progress. I only have the two things that I showed you guys last week. I really thought about casting on some socks on Christmas Eve, and I really wanted to join in a big Christmas Eve cast on. And I reminded myself, okay, you like to have everything done by the end of the year, and you're not anywhere near that. So it's not wise for me to cast on. So I did the smart thing. But I even had yarn all balled up. And this is in a bag you guys haven't seen. It's by, let's see. Yep, there you go. Use so-and-so. And she did a giveaway with our group a little while ago, and there's a coupon code. I believe it has a couple more days, but it's Bookish 10, I believe. And so I got this bag, and it kind of reminds me of winter because these are birch trees and they're kind of bare. It's almost like winter, but spring is about to start. It's a green zipper and leaves on the inside. And in here is my baby surprise jacket that I'm knitting for a friend. I'm knitting it out of some Knit Picks Felici Sport in the colorway Recess. And it's cream and green and blue and brown and red. I got a little bit knit on this. Most of my knitting, because like I said, I didn't have a lot of time to knit, was on the Without a Sound cowl, because I knew that that was a gift and needed to be done. But it was about right here last week, so I got a good 5 inches done. And it's starting to look really funny. Elizabeth Zimmerman says in the pattern that it starts to, at this stage, look really interesting. But when you fold it, it creates this amazing little baby jacket. So I'm over halfway done with this. And I think it will definitely be done by the end of the year. Oh, and what I'm wearing today, I didn't mention. I am wearing my Miss Winkle knit out of some Marigold Gent. I've forgotten. I don't remember the colorway right now, though. And then the next thing, and this is in a bag that you haven't seen either. I love this. This is a Bling Your String bag, and it came with little stitch markers. I'll show you. One is on the actual project, but the other ones are in here. And they match the bag so perfectly. Little blue bead and then a clear bead. And here's my Whispering Pines shawl, and it is knit out of some Bijou Basin Ranch in the Himalayan Trail, I believe. My mind is so foggy. It was very funny. We were playing a board game called Pandemic, and we were joking because everyone around the table, everyone except my son, has the cough, and so we were joking that we have the pandemic here, but it's really soft. And it's a very beautiful color. And I only did 3 or 4 repeats, and I just worked on it Friday and Saturday. So it's not going to have grown much from what you saw last week. And this is going to be my big challenge. If I can get this done by the end of the year, then that will be a small miracle. But on it, last time I had skeletons, and now, if you can see, I have little snowflakes. So, because the bag came with a little snowflake. And coming up, I believe this next week or very soon, we're going to be having a giveaway of Bling Your String for one of her bag clubs. And once she gives me all the details with that, then I will give all the details to you guys, and I'll have that thread up sometime at the beginning of January. But she has amazing bags, and her bag club is really fun because you kind of get to tailor it to you, and then you get bags coming to you and that are stuff that you like. So it's like a yarn club, but with bags, which you guys know I love bags, and then tailored to your individual likes. And you can find out about that too on blingyourstring.com. That's her site, and she's so sweet. We've been talking on Ravelry for quite a bit, and we have daughters similar age, and she's thinking of getting a corgi for a house pet, and we have a corgi, so we've been talking about that. So that is all of my knitting. No new cast-ons because I was being a good girl. And no spinning because I haven't had time. But I did go through, and there's this group I'm in. I joined it last year around January, but I didn't have enough fiber to actually but to participate in this event because I had just gotten my wheel last Christmas, but I kind of watched it just for fun. And the group is completely twisted and arbitrary. I think Brenda told me that. I think I said it was pointless, but it's completely twisted and arbitrary spinning group. And what you do is it's this challenge called Spin the Bin. So you pick out 12 braids of fiber, one for every month, and then you take a picture of them, and then you put them in a bin, and you take a picture of that, and you put it up in the group. And so the point is you spin a braid of fiber every month, and you're kind of committed to those 12 braids. Now, if you want to, let's say, oh, I don't really want to spin this one anymore. I'm not as in love with it. I want to spin this one. Another drink of tea. I want to spin another one. You can take one out, but you have to replace it with 2 new ones to kind of challenge you to stay within your set perimeters from the beginning. And then they have this thing too called Use It or Lose It, which I plan to participate in. It's just a fun thing that either spin all the ones that you plan to. If there's one that you didn't spin, then you give it away to their prize pool that they have at the end for the winners of the thing. So I'm going to participate in that, but I don't plan on losing any because I'm going to finish them all. I do really well with those kind of random challenges. It's very motivating to me. So that's spinning. Now enabling. Can we just talk? I was so spoiled for Christmas. I think at one point I cried, or I know I did because everybody told me, but hey, oh my gosh. So I got this mug. Last year I got a spinning wheel, but so much. I got this mug. My husband got me a Russian thing. And then yarn for days. I've yarned for days because I had picked out some yarn for myself thinking that that was going to be my Christmas present. And then my husband went and bought more because he commandeered the yarn that I bought for him to give to me, because he, wouldn't know. And so he commandeered that, and then he got more. And then I had asked my sister-in-law, because she lives in New York City, to go, more tea, I can feel it tickle. But, so I had asked my sister-in-law, because, sorry about the noise upstairs. I had asked my sister-in-law, I have to cough. Sorry. I had asked my sister-in-law, because she lives in New York, to go to this place called Pearl Soho and get yarn for me. And I thought she would get one skein, but she went in with my in-laws and got a whole bunch of skeins, and I got some books. But so what I'm going to do, because I still have some of the company, my in-laws are still here. My sister-in-law is still in the state. She hasn't quite returned to New York yet because poor Dallas has had crazy tornadoes. She flew from San Antonio to Dallas, but she got stuck in Dallas, and they've just had horrible stuff going on. So they canceled all the flights, so she's up there stuck till she can get a flight out to New York. But so, what was I saying? So I'm just going to show the different yarns. So I still have some company, so I'm not going to show all the Christmas yarn. I'm just going to show a couple skeins every week from different dyers. So the first one, these were in my stocking, and these are ones that I had got, my husband had commandeered. And it's from Ashley, who is Neely's Knits. And this is Wood Spray. It's an NCN, 435 yards, merino cashmere nylon. And it's gorgeous and soft. You can see all the colors. I really like that one. And then a self-striping sock yarn called Princess Celestia, which, if you know the My Little Ponies, you'll know the reference. My daughter loves Princess Celestia. I just like the colors, white, purple, pink, and blue. And then this last one I think is my favorite. This is a BFL silk. So these 3 skeins were in my stocking. The color on this is Venus. It's a DK. Oh wow, there's 438 yards of a DK. This is awesome. Maybe it's less. Maybe it's just a different label, but look at that. I absolutely love those colors. So many gorgeous colors. And you can see, look at that. It's so soft. I love, her colors are so saturated, and things that you would never think of putting together, she puts together, and it works brilliantly. And she's so sweet. She sent me a very kind note with the thing. My husband took the yarn, but I got the note, and I got the yarn later. And the last thing of enabling is not yarn, but it's amazing. This was a Christmas treat to myself. So my friend Darlene, who does Bags by Awesome Granny, contacted me because I had won a little Notions pouch in the cowl that she has going on for the Year of Socks. And I was going to join in for December, but that's the sock that I didn't cast on because I just didn't have time. But I won a little Notions pouch in the November one. And then I asked her if she could make me a wintertime bag. And she said, sure. And I asked if she could do a certain fabric. So I went into the dark, dark hole of fabrics. This way I could never be a sewer. It took me hours to choose this. There were just too many options. It was definitely analysis paralysis going on in my head. And this, I ended up on Spoonflower, and I am madly in love with this. So it was definitely one of those, the searching, it was worth the wait to like finding the right one. Oh my gosh, oh, it's so exciting. Okay, look at this. It's Russian folk winter fabric. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm a tiny bit excited about this. And I didn't even see when I was picking this bear. Look at that bear. It's so cute. I am just in love with this. And she did a perfect fabric placement. The castle's in the middle, a snowflake, there's a little fox, another bear, birds, horses. It is stunning and it's Russian. My face is gonna fall off. I'm smiling so big. And inside, she asked me what I wanted on the inside, and I said just pick a neutral. She chose a perfect neutral. You can see right there. It's slightly metallic and it's like holly vines, and has a notions pouch. And I love it. I love it so much. This was a good happy treat to myself, because Spoonflower fabric is a little more expensive than the typical fabric she does, so it cost a little more than her normal set, but it's worth it for Russian fabric. Okay, I'm a little bit obsessed and excited. So that is my enabling. Now get some tea, get your knitting, and settle in for group news, because there's a ton of group news. So 700 member giveaway has ended, and there were 2 winners. One for a little package swap, kind of like a swap, but just a one-way swap from me. And the winner from that was number 19, Creative Mama RC. And so Creative Mama, I will be putting together a little package for you from the likes that you said you had. Oh my gosh, I am definitely running out of tea. And I have to talk very slowly. It was that Russian bag. It just got my voice all crazy. And then the winner for the wonderful things from Upon a Corgi, a little beehive bag and a gorgeous skein of yarn, was post number 108, who is Linda Dawn 64. So Linda Dawn and Creative Mama RC, just get in contact with me with your address, and I will send those out to you in the new year. Now for the shawl cowl. We're having a shawl cowl with undead yarn, pinhook and needles, and Andre Sue knits, and it's going to be wonderful, so you can quadruple dip in everything and win prizes. The prize for my group is going to be, I'm excited, a shawl kit. So it's going to be a shawl kit for a 3-color shawl. So there's going to be 3 skeins of yarn in solids, 3 different solids. I'm going to possibly ask one of my friends to make a bag that matches the 3 skeins of yarn, and then pattern a 3-color pattern, shawl pattern of your choice. So it'll be a little kit for a shawl. And then we also had the giveaway to kind of kick off the thing. And the winner for that was Astrid, post number 24, and the person she chose to go with her was Pat Mom. And then I had Ninja Chickens get in contact with me, and she wanted to do a shawl giveaway too for the upcoming shawl cowl. So this is Ninja Chickens, and she has a new shawl design out called the Drecken shawl, and it's not out yet. It's going to be released January 1st. You see it there? It's a very large, gorgeous shawl. It's lace. If you can see, it has a spine that is knit in a different color. And it's huge and cozy, and I'm very excited to knit this. She sent me the pattern too. Thank you so much. It was really sweet of you. And I have a festival kind of marketplace coming up at the end of February that I think I'm going to get yarn for this and knit it this year. I just love very big shawls, and I think the spine down the middle of that shawl is stunning. You show it one more time. It's just very stunning to me that, oops, it would draw attention, I think, very nicely down that. So look for that up in the group. I'm going to be putting up a thread for that giveaway. And that is all for the shawl cowl. It's going to run from January to March. I don't know where maybe I was combining December and January. And then any shawl, in my group at least, I'm going to say you can knit as many shawls as you want to enter for the prize. And then next thing we have is our 2016 read-along, and it's short stories, and I'm doing this with Amy Loris, who's a good friend that I met at a knitting retreat 2.5 years ago, and 1.5 years ago. Dates, times, as a mom, I forget everything. Not everything, well, you know. But we're doing a short story read-along, and she suggested some people that were kind of archetypal for starting the short story, like Herman Melville, Hawthorne, Edgar Allan Poe, and so we decided to go with a Poe story for January. So January's read-along, and I think it's going to be good too because this is one that you will be able to find online. You won't have to go and buy a book or wait to rent a book, so the first one will be relatively easy for you to find. The first one we're reading is by Edgar Allan Poe, and it's Murders in La Rue Morgue, which is La Rue Morgue, just in French, but that's going to be the one we're going to read. And Brenda, A Good Yarn, has been so helpful. Thank you so much, Brenda. I'm such a slacker. I'm sorry. The family's been in town, and I haven't been on Ravelry, not at all, for 3 or 4 days. So if you sent me a message, because I think I have like almost 24 to 30 Ravelry messages that I haven't gotten around to replying to. So if you've sent me something and I haven't replied back yet, I'm going to get to it this week, I promise. And so Brenda's been awesome helping with this, and I just wanted to say a big thank you to her. And so that's the read-along. And then I'm just going to talk about a couple more knit-alongs and then goals for the year, because I hope this one doesn't run too long because people are waiting for me to be done. Now, for another thing that we're doing this year is knits for, and I have to look up the name of this organization. The book is in my loft/library, and my mother-in-law was in there kind of taking a nap, so I didn't want to go in and bother her. But we're going to be doing, or I'm going to be doing, and if you would like to join in, knitting for charity with this. You knit wool items, 100% wool, very warm, for Russian orphanages, and then they take them and deliver them yearly. And this is in a Barnes & Noble's bag. But in here I have a whole bunch of wool. I'll try not to crinkle too, well, it's going to crinkle. I have a skein of undead yarn. I have some piece fleece. I have some spun fiber co. Just a whole bunch. This bag is full, and I plan to knit up every single one of these skeins into something to send their way. I'm going to knit some, sorry, put it down here. Ta-da! Okay. I'm going to knit some Milo vests and socks. They said that they really need things that will keep them warm, even inside the orphanages. It's cold, not even when they go outside, but socks and little vests keep the kids warm. So I'm going to knit up a whole bunch of those. And then another thing that we talked about is deep, dark shame. This, which you can't see, I'm about to show you, is how many scraps you can acquire if you knit for several years. I think I've been knitting for 8 or 9 or 7, lots of years, and this isn't even all of them. This isn't even my minis for my sock yarn blanket, because I didn't count those. I was like, those aren't scraps, they have a purpose. So I don't even know how to get these. This could be bad. Okay, so I have next to me a tower. Okay. This is a little owl thing. Just a container. This is full of scraps. Then I have another owl container. This is full of scraps. Then, oh gosh, I have another container. Oh, it's just, it never ends. Another, this is madness. Another container. This one's huge. And you'll probably just take my word for it, but it is also full of scraps. feel like this dark, shameful secret right now of how many scraps does this woman have? A lot. And then a bag from the retreat that I went to 2014. Also full of scraps. Oh my gosh. And I know there's probably no way, even if in 2016 I just knit from the scraps, that I could ever get through these, because that's a ton. But I would like to get it at least to where my scraps, okay, goal, impossible stretch goal, where my scraps fit in just the 2 owl buckets. Doable goal, I think, is where my scraps fit in the 2 owl buckets and this. So that means knitting from all of them, but getting it to where basically this bag is not needed. And the thing is that I'll be knitting other projects throughout the year, and those get new scraps, so it's just kind of never ending. But I think I'm gonna, do Christmas ornaments for a whole bunch of people, like my book club, instead of bookmarks. I'll do Christmas ornaments next year, and maybe I'll find some wool that I can knit up for homeless, and I'm just gonna try to pare this down a lot. And maybe throughout the year I'll just give random gifts to friends. Be like, here, I knit you this. Just to kind of use up these scraps. Okay, so on this episode thread, if you would like to send me a picture, post a picture of how many scraps you have, or in the scrap thread, because I'm going to start a thread for the scrap knit along, and I don't know what kind of prizes there will be for this yet, or if you have patterns that you love to knit that utilize a whole bunch of scraps. But show me your scraps so that we can commiserate. But it's a lot. It's a lot of scraps. Oh, and something else I would love to see, if you got yarn for Christmas and you want to flash your Christmas yarn stash on the thread for this episode 75, I would love to see what Christmas yarn you got, because that's always fun. That is all the scraps. Now the last thing before the book is, I hope I'm not forgetting anything, I'm sure I am, it's going to be a longer one. The last thing is 2015 goals. Okay, so my goals for 2015 were to attend as many festivals and retreats as possible. Definitely did that. Knit a Rhinebeck sweater. Maybe I knit 3. I only wore one of them though. Knit 75 skeins of stash. Right now, currently, I am at 71 skeins used it up, but I need to count for this one, so it'll be 72. But I have 2 more things on the needles that will use up skeins of stash, so those I should get to 75 or very, very close. Participate in Tour de Fleece and Spinzilla unofficially. I actually participated in them officially, so I guess that's even better, or I don't know. And then another thing was to be less planned in my knitting. Well, I completely failed at this. I think I just need to embrace that I love planning. It's just something that I really enjoy doing. I love imagining in my head, what can I work on? What will it look like? Just all these kinds of things. And it makes me very happy to plan out my project. So I think I'm just going to give that one up. I'm not going to worry about doing that one. So my goals for 2016 are going to be, because everybody has told me that they want socks for Christmas, get 10 pairs of socks for others, and then my other goal is going to be knit 3 sweaters for other people. My mom wants one sweater for my husband, and my best friend wants a sweater. So knit 3 sweaters for other people. And then another thing, my goal is going to be to knit all that stuff up for charity, and then use up my scraps, and then I think my last goal was to do less, because this year really burnt me out. It was too much traveling. I want to do things either closer to home or only do a couple things that are far away. So what I think I'm going to do is alternate years. This year I did a ton. I went to all these things, and then I'm going to take a year, a little more downtime. I might go to 1 or 2 things, but not 3 or 4. And then 2017, I'll go and do all those things again. So I can have a down year and then an up year, and kind of alternate that. That way I can still see my friends that I love so much and that I would love to see every year. But it's just, I need to think about my introvertness that can't handle all of that, so it'll be okay. But I'm going to alternate that. So those are my 2016 goals. And I think that is all I have for the group news, so much. And I'm going to look up really quickly because my husband has the iPad and I'm going to use my phone to look up the book this week. So the book this week is The Happiness Project. And I read this book a couple years ago. I thought it would be timely since we're going into a new year. Aha! My phone is, I got it. Yay! Okay. There we go. Sorry that took a little bit. If I was looking down, it wasn't because I was ignoring you, it was because I was looking it up on my phone. So, it's not going to show great. Happiness Project by Gretchen Rubin. And this was a #1 New York Times bestseller, so you've probably heard of it. But Gretchen Rubin, I think she may have had a blog first, I'm not sure. But she wrote this book and she decided that there were areas of her life that she could improve upon. And so she picked different areas that she wanted to get better, like her relationship with her husband, with her kids, tidiness in the home. And she picked those and she just worked on them in little ways and found, to try to make herself happier. And I kind of like the premise of this book in that there's always little things that we can be doing to kind of either help us be happier or less stressful or more at peace in our lives. And I love how she doesn't expect you to overhaul in huge ways. She just suggests little changes and little things and talks about how big of a difference they add up. So if you haven't read this book, The Happiness Project by Gretchen Rubin, I would highly recommend it. It's a nice, easy, light read, and she doesn't take things too seriously. She's not judgy or preachy. She's just very helpful and informative. And if you've already read the book, something else that might interest you if you don't know about it is she has a podcast. And it is called, I don't know if they've done one recently, but the podcast is called, and it's with her sister, it's Gretchen Rubin and her sister, and it's called Happier with Gretchen Rubin. And it just looks like, my computer's blowing things out. But you can search for it under iTunes on your phone, iTunes podcast. It's called Happier with Gretchen Rubin, and it's just a yellow background with a blue circle. Happier is written in white, and then with Gretchen Rubin is written in black. And it's just little ideas for things that you can do in your everyday life, very simple things, just to kind of make things easier and just to have a happier kind of place in your life. And I really enjoy listening to that podcast. It doesn't come on very often, and it's short, which I love. I think it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or typically about 20. And I thought I would mention that to you if you were looking for something with little suggestive hints. I know we can't always all be perfectly happy. You guys see me for 30 minutes a week, and I'm pretty happy to be talking to you because I love that I've gotten to develop some wonderful relationships with all of you. But I am not 100% always happy. If I've gotten past my introvert tolerance, if I've had too many people around me, I can just get and need to go hide away to get my happy face back on. But it's just a really good thing to think about if you would like to. And that is it for this podcast this week. I probably forgot something. There was so much. I made show notes because I was very much hoping that I wouldn't forget anything because there was so much to talk about. But look in Ravelry for the group thread that's coming up for all of those things that I mentioned. And till next week, I hope you have a great week and that you get to do all the things you love. Okay, bye.